Being in your heart today is the way we often live. Our hearts are yours and yours are ours. We are your guides. We are the stars. We are the blades of grass. So green. We are the waves of the oceans. We are the unseen. We are the hearts of all who live. hearts we come, we sing, we start, we start. We sing into the chambers four, we sing into the winds, and we sing to your love, we sing to your pain, we sing through sun, we sing through rain. We are the ones you are. Inside we just bring you here so you can see yourselves rise. We come inside a heart that lives inside the life of all who live. We are the waves inside of everything of sound and light. We are the hearts that shine at night. We are the beings so bright. You are, we are all one. We come to you. We sing this song, we sing to you. We love you so. We are your higher selves. We are so humbly low. Oh, dear ones. Oh, dear ones, we are so proud to be with you. We love you loud. We love you soft. We love you in. We love you any way you wish to begin. So in this time we show you something of what it means to be with the heart. And we whisper to your souls, let the flower blossom into gold. Let the flowers of your hearts come through, and let yourselves be true to you. We are so grateful that you have come to listen and share all who you are in the all one. Whew. Gonna need a little sip of something. Welcome. To all beings, great and small. See, we have some dog child friends with us as well. All pets, all beings, seen and unseen, welcome. To those who are here with us today and to those who join us later. This is all for you. We're all here together. We're all connected as one. So welcome. There's some new folks and some folks who may have not been with us in a while. And I'm going to start by introducing myself and doing a little guidance into our vulnerable hearts, this topic. And then we'll do the personal introductions. And of course, everything aside from what I do is optional. So no pressure to share, but there is an invitation there absolutely to include you. So I'm Leah, and I'm here in Albuquerque near the Rio Grande, probably, I don't know, maybe a mile and a half away from that beautiful river that is flowing so well right now due to wonderful, wonderful winter rains, a prolonged winter. So we're very grateful for that here in Albuquerque. And I'm on Sandia lands, which basically I'm on Pueblo lands, and I want to talk about that first in this because it's really what's part of what's activating this topic for tonight, the vulnerable heart. And so I wanted to tell a story. Excuse me. I wanted to start with this story, and also at the same time, it gives me the opportunity to introduce Liz, who is also here with us in Albuquerque, and she helps moderate this platform for us. So if you have any questions, please message her or text her you should have all received her number in the email. If you have any problems or get kicked off for some reason. But anyway, so Liz also is a channeler, and she and I are sort of cohorts in many adventures together, and she had the insight to invite me to go to one of the cliff dwellings up near, it's part of Bandelier National Monument, but it's its own little section. And just before they started doing road work and blocking off that area. And it was a beautiful, quiet spring day, blue skies. It was like no wind. It was just so gorgeous. And we went and we sort of followed these paths down to these cliff dwellings, which are like these little almost like porous spaces that open up into the rocks. A lot of the rock around here is lava, was originally formed by the volcanoes in this area. So it has that sense of sort of these bubbles opening, little cave-like portals. And so, of course, we had to adventure in and crouch in them. And we both just got kind of quiet in there. And there was this beautiful sensation rising up in me. And for some reason, I felt the need to ask Liz what that was. What are we feeling? And she said, it feels like being held. I said, yeah, that's it. That's it. And I feel like a frog. And and there we were, like little frogs in the mud, being held in this beautiful space, this beautiful little pocket of Mother Earth. And so it made me think about frogs and how frogs go into their dormant states until the quickening of the spring, and then they sort of come out full throttle singing in the summer. And in that space of being held and that opening, it was definitely felt so beautiful. And then there was also this sensation of the vulnerability of that moment of opening to that moment of being held, right? And it feels like being held by the earth can have that same feeling like you might in an intimate relationship, where it's both beautiful and wonderful and breathtaking, and at the same time terrifying. because you don't know what else you're going to feel. And you begin to open to all the sensations, not just the joy and the love and the beauty, but also possibly and potentially the pain of what another being, and in this case, the earth, experiences. You become reciprocal in this relationship, whether it's with another person or with the earth. And in doing so, that opens up the heart, right? And it opens up to holding their pain. And I really feel like that's what this group is about. This is why I started this group, was to be able to support people in being here with your mission and purpose for being here on earth, and to be supported as we try to maintain our hearts and maybe open our hearts more. We need help. We need help in that process because of all that we face in that. So that's why I developed this group, Standing Strong in Changing Times. And I feel like also tonight's group in particular speaks well to the vulnerable heart, because here we are on a new moon, this new beginning, but also we're in these almost like the parentheses of the eclipse, the doorways, but the hallway. We've just entered the hallway, the doorway from one eclipse, and we have until several more weeks before, or a couple more weeks until we go through the other portal, right? So in this time and in this vulnerability, as with any transformation, there's an opportunity to take suffering and create a new beginning, create meaning out of it. So that is my hope and wish for all of us today, and all of those who are watching this, wherever you are and whenever you are. Liz and I opened Sacred Space already before you hopped on. And of course, when we do that, we kind of dissolve space and time. So anything that comes through today, whether you are experiencing it now live or you want to listen to this or watch this recording again, or if you're listening to it for the first time and not present with us, it's still applicable. It will, whatever we download here, whatever activates here, is still viable because it's held in that bubble, in that space. So I also wanted to share that I asked the guides, what exactly is the vulnerable heart? So that I just shared with you sort of my experience and my idea, and I did not come up with this title. They came up with it, and it scared me, quite honestly, because, vulnerability, that's hard. But I asked them, and they told me freedom. That was their answer, the vulnerable heart, it's freedom. So I hope we walk with that sense of ability to transform and move into freedom tonight. And I'd like to kind of I think I'm going to turn off my screen, and you're welcome to leave yours on or turn it off as we kind of move into a little bit of a guided exercise to help us deepen into our own hearts and intentions, help you sort of see if there's any questions or intentions from your own vulnerable hearts. So please settle in. So you may want to close your eyes or just hold a soft gaze, kind of anchor in with your breath, maybe taking a longer exhale than your inhale, elongating as a way to help support your nervous system to calm. And just deepening into that space, protected by your rib cage and flesh and fascia and tissue. And I invite you to put a hand on your heart or wherever feels right on your body, where you might feel vulnerable at this moment. So it could be the belly, the throat, the head, the back, the lungs, the knees, or you might have two hands going, one on the heart and one somewhere else. And feeling the support of your hand, and now the connection of your feet or your body to the floor, and the floor connected to the building if you're inside, and the building connected to the earth. And I invite you to sense into the earth as a place where the footsteps of all who have come before you, either in bloodline or in spiritual lineage, your teachers, your mentors, and anyone else who you might think of as family, and to sense into the imprint of their footsteps and feel their presence rising up to hold you. And perhaps you can even feel the air thick with their support. And perhaps in this way, you're being held in a cosmic nest. Hand to heart, heart held by body, body connected to earth, earth rising up with her sweet nurturance and ancestral imprinting. Rising up and falling in closer to support your vulnerable heart. And just sitting with this and noticing any feelings you might be having, comfortable or uncomfortable. And just noticing what is there. Fear, love, joy, grief, smallness, courage, chaos, peace, emptiness, fullness, curiosity, confidence. And you might in this moment witness yourself, and there might be some resistance too. And you might notice them both and whisper to yourself inside that yes, this is my vulnerable heart. And you might find yourself settling into that and perhaps sinking a little deeper and asking your vulnerable heart if it has a question, an intention, or a desire in this very moment. And continue to pause with it, honor it, even dialogue with it. And when you are ready, and as you're ready, lifting your gaze, opening your eyes. And you might want to write your intention down for yourself, or you can write it into the chat if you'd like that to be addressed in some way. Just put it into the soup for the guides. So whatever that means for you, if you want to keep it to yourself, they'll still get the message. And if you don't want them to get the message, you can let them know. And if you'd like me to read it, you can put it in the chat. And we'll take a minute when we introduce ourselves, and if you wish to share anything about what came up for you in this brief exercise, you can do that as well. I'm gonna just have the guides now speak to your intentions, speak to the sort of the subject matter that you brought up, and see what they have to say in relation to your hearts. We'll take some time after that to pause, and if there's any feedback that you'd like to share, we'll take some time for that too. And then we'll have some, whatever the guides want us to hear from them, what they want to share with us, above and beyond our personal experiences and current circumstances. So again, if your name is brought up in here, just know that it can be edited out. All right, we have so much to say. We are here, so many of us, beings of light from all over the planet. We walk with you, we walk aside you, we walk inside you sometimes. We land as little light beings in your hearts. When you get confused, when you falter, when you criticize yourselves, when you become harsh, we sometimes go away. In other words, the help is available when you remain open to it coming in. And so if you are dissolving and drowning into the madness without asking for a lifeguard to throw you the ring, It is difficult for us to help. So remember this. When you go into your vulnerable heart, we are here for you, and we need you to call us. How do you call? Just like that. Help. I need help. That's really the only thing you need to do, to call us in. There are many of us, and you can be specific. Aunt Esther, Dad, Ascended Masters, angels, spirit guides, beings from the stars. However you want to specify is also fine. Call us in. But that's how you start asking for help. That's the only way. That's the only way. With the time that we have left, I'm going to take maybe 10 minutes, maybe 15, to just work with things that the guys wanted to share with you, that are things they wanted to share in answer to some of the questions I had, and they gave me questions as well. And so the first question that they want to answer, I think they'll answer some of them all at once, but is where do people find more support after this group? So starting there. And what they're saying is working with your guides is one thing, but really allowing yourselves to sit with your heart, and noticing, like we did in the beginning, just what's there, where is it in the body, so allowing it to speak, and then they're saying, bring light in, like actually visualize light coming in to support whatever is happening for you internally. And also make sure that you always radiate it out as well, right? Again, that reciprocity, that everything that we do ripple out to the rest of the world. And so in doing this work, we're healing for everyone. And I want to speak to that piece about self-kindness and how truly important it is in this work. And I'm just going to pause, and I'm kind of getting tapped to talk about this particular experience that Liz and I had recently. Sometimes Liz and I work together. We often show up together and things just happen because we're both doing this work. And so there was a third person that was involved who gave permission to share this story a little bit. And we were being asked to activate something, and there were questions, there was hesitancy, there was a sort of confusion about how to do it, and are we doing it in the right way? Is it honoring everybody involved? And what happened was we heard from our future selves in the form of, they called themselves the children of the future. I may offer that as a separate recording at some point. It was so powerful and very moving, and I had tears running down my face because, of course, it was a difficult context that the children of the future were speaking from. But they reminded us that the work that we do now has the power to imprint and plant seeds so that they have the seeds that we plant, the energetic seeds that we plant, might nourish them in the future. And in doing so, we actually change the future outcome. So they were speaking from a pretty smoky, charred forest. And they were showing me, there's the importance, of course, of balance, right? So we plant, when there's destruction in a forest, sometimes there's new growth, or you plant new seeds, you plant new trees, for regeneration. So that's in the physical world, the manifest world. And some of us are working with Wayne Snellgrove, and he talks about that balance, that anything you do in one world, you balance it in the other world. So with when we plant seeds in the earth, we also need to be planting the energetic seeds, right? So they were showing me how when we take care of ourselves, when we support ourselves with loving kindness, how that turns into, they showed me that like almost like a jack in the bean, this long spiraling seed vine going up, and they were looking up at it and I was looking up at it, and they said, this is what we have, this is what you'll plant for us when you do this work. They were emphasizing the importance of that. So just sitting and tuning into our hearts and being vulnerable, that is part of the work, right? What can be more vulnerable than a seed, right? Who knows what's going to happen with that seed? But if we tend to it, there's a greater chance of growth and a full blossoming, beautiful outcome, and the continuation of life. So we speak to you in the voices of the people of the future, which are yourselves, looking back as you are born into new lifetimes. And we say to you, please, don't wait, don't hesitate, do it now. We speak with a bit of urgency. We want to be gentle with you in this delivery, and we are saying, do it now. Be with yourselves. Value yourselves. Value your time. Wisely plant the seeds of self-growth and loving kindness. Thank you. Thank you. And interestingly, I was told that Allegra might show up today, and of course she already has, but I want to share something from her. She wishes to speak. She is, this is one of the first times she's speaking to the group directly, and she's saying, I knew what I needed to do, and I told them, these veterans, let me pause and explain. Allegra, when she was in her late 80s, knew that there was a Buddhist retreat center being built near her, and she asked them if she could put up the money to have a small place for herself, built for herself there, and that when she passed, it would go back to the retreat center. And so while there was a teacher there, there was also this woman, first an octogenarian and then a woman in her 90s, encountering, or these young men, many veterans came to this particular retreat center, and she would do her daily practice outside, all this movement and prayer and song. And so they would come to her too. And she was also a teacher, not formally, but she was definitely a teacher. And she would tell these young men, you have to be vulnerable. So this is where she's coming from. I told them, you have to be vulnerable, and you have to look into the eyes of your own innocence, and you have to know yourself as an innocent being that has come to this planet to do good work. And it doesn't matter where you come from or who you encountered when you were born into a family or where you landed on this earth. None of that matters, ultimately. It may shape you, hopefully in a good way, but even if it doesn't, you are here with a purpose, and that purpose matters. And it is your task to uncover that and honor it and hold it in all of its innocence, in all of its pain, in all of its vulnerability, in all of its shared tears. And so as you move through your life, no matter whether or not you are a veteran of war, I was, or you feel like you've been through a war, because there is no comparison of tragedies. It is a feeling in your heart that you carry. If you wish to unburden the load, you must tend to it first. You must acknowledge and then begin to release. Whether it's from this lifetime or past lifetimes, you must contribute to the planet by shedding, by sowing, by holding, and by knowing your own innocent heart. Let yourself be in wonder. I was 95 and I woke up every day in wonder and gratitude. I didn't know how long I would live or what I would do when I passed. But now I know it is my task to spread the seeds of love and light and innocence. May you be blessed with love always. My heart, Allegra. Calling the winds of the east and the south, they're coming, and they have one last small message. We're here in this time to show you about this transition from the east to the south. We are in this place, going from the east to the south. We hover like two birds mating in the air. And when that energy builds, it becomes a strong wind. And when that strong wind moves across the planet, it carries a lot of power. And when that power comes to you, it is your task to sit in the center of it and align with it and allow it to come right into you. Yes, there is destruction. Yes, there's so much force in the strong winds. But if you take some of it in, maybe we don't need to do it so much. Maybe we don't have to work so hard to get your attention, to help you learn how to sit in the midst of all that we stir up. And so we bring the stirring of the pot, we bring the manifestation of all that you have put in it, and we close with our song and with our prayer and with our beauty that comes in the transformation and the chaos of spring and the summer, storms, and all that rearranges things in order for new growth to come. All the lights, all the beauty are one. Holding you inside our hearts we rise, and let the winds blow. Inside this little whirling wind, we let the spirits show. So we grow with our hearts, and we live inside the love of a wondrous whirling wind. And when we settle, you will win. What do you win? What do you win? What do you win? Have so we can begin. Namaste, everyone. Thank you so much for all that you brought to this.